What's up, guys? I hope this video finds you doing well. Today I want to talk about a question that I get sometimes as somebody in the marketing and website design area. And that question goes a little something like this. It's 2020. Do I really still need a website? And I think the answer is yes. Now, I tackled this on the blog there at northmaxservices.com. And I think the answer to this question is absolutely a yes. You need to have a website in 2020. And I want to go through some of the reasons here that I laid out in this blog post. Now, for a little bit of context, the week before I released this, I wrote a post about Instagram. And I highlighted some things that others were saying about the way that Instagram has decided that they're going to start changing their like count strategy. The way that like counts affect reach in Instagram's algorithm. And what basically happened is they started to test this idea that likes were not going to influence that number. And most people, I would say, who are counting on doing some sort of advertising in their Instagram account are going to be negatively affected by this. And you are going to have to adapt in order to be able to basically survive this change in algorithm. Now, I'm not saying that because that's the subject of today's video, because it's not. What we're talking about today is websites, and I just wanted to use this as an analogy. Now, here is what I concluded the Instagram article with. I said, don't put all of your eggs in the basket of a social media site or some other external platform. Rather, build a strong home base full of your content. And that is exactly what I mean by the fact that you should have a website. That's why you should have a website. You own that. It's something that you control. It's something that you make the rules. Now, yeah, of course, there are other people who control whether or not you actually get found. Okay? If you're sharing articles and things on Facebook, if you're sharing stories on Instagram, if you're putting out blog posts that Google and other search engines have to process, you're always going to be, in a sense, beholden to what kind of traffic they send you. But again, you own this space. There are very few things when it comes to what you can own and what you can control on the internet. And a website is one of those things. You can own and control your domain name. You can own and control your hosting account. And if somebody says that they're going to do something on their hosting account that you don't agree with, you can move to another one. Again, you own the files and everything when you have a website, and that makes a huge, huge difference. But now, recently, it's been common for me to see people say, well, I can get by, or I have been getting by, or I get by just fine on my Facebook page, or I have this huge Instagram following, or I have a lot of engagement on Twitter, and people do most of their business through those. And here's the point. Those are great places to do business. They're great places to bring in new business, but you need to be bringing them to some place that is yours. You don't own the content that you create on Facebook. You don't own the content that you create on Instagram. You don't own the content that you create on Twitter. Somebody else owns and controls all of that. And that is the big, big difference. So, websites are not a thing of the past. And it's very much so flawed advice to think that you can successfully market and grow any kind of business today without ultimately having a website. It may work for a little while, but it's not going to be a good long-term solution. Here are 3 reasons why. First of all, you own the website. Now, I mentioned this above, but I think it's a really significant point. When you have this. When you have a website under your control, you own the domain, you own the space on the hosting server, you own the content of the site, the graphical content, all of that stuff, any of the written content that you create. It's all yours. You own it all. As long as you continue to pay for the services that allow you to put that content on the website and have it to where people can find it, you own it. Whether or not anybody can get to it, maybe you violated some kind of term and Google said, oh, we're going to shut you down, we're going to stop putting you up in the ranks. Well, they can do that, and I suppose that's their prerogative. Whether or not they're right, I guess, would depend on the situation, but ultimately you own the website. It's yours. You're not beholden to whatever they say. Okay, the second thing is you control the experience. Now, this is huge. I talk about this a lot, but everything is marketing. The user experience that your prospects have. Facebook comes under fire for this because they constantly are changing it. It's a very inconsistent experience. Now, from their perspective, they're saying that they help, right? It's a helpful thing. They change it based on user data, and they are constantly improving, and things are getting better, and performance and security and all this. We hear all that. But when you look at the inconvenience of the user experience of basically having to learn a new platform over and over and over. And there was a couple years ago, where it was like every week, man, significant things were changing. That is tough. That's really tough for people to cope with. And when you own your own website, you control that entire experience. You need to have what I said here in the post to be a healthy and positive public persona. And I think that's another good point too, is that it looks cheap to just be on social media. Yeah, everybody is on social media, but having a website is one of those things that kind of comes with instant authority. It builds credibility. It's kind of like how you can write blog posts for years, and certainly there's a level of credibility that comes with being a blogger who has made a splash in a certain niche. But notice how the authority game really, really moves up when a blogger writes a book. What is it about that? When somebody writes a book, it's instant credibility, because in people's minds, only people with a certain amount of credibility and trustworthiness write books. Again, it's not even necessarily true. It's just something that people think, and they're not always wrong. And again, some of that stems from older ideas. Today, it's pretty easy. Anybody can publish a book, but it didn't used to be like that. To publish a book, you had to have a certain amount of credibility in the past, and so we still kind of have that idea. And it's the same kind of thing with a website. A website helps you, whether it should or shouldn't, that's not the question. A website, when you have a website, people see that as something that helps establish credibility. So no, I don't think websites are a thing of the past, because you control that experience, and you need to make sure that your brand is showing up in ways that, well, in all the ways that you can. Okay? Finally, on that point, customers need your website. They expect to be able to find you. They want to know, like, and trust you in order to do business with you. And again, when you make resources available for them through the means of video content, audio content, written content, these are things that help build that scenario of knowing, liking, and trusting. I just wrote a post last night that's not going to come out for about a month or so, but the idea of that post is that when you build trust and you create information for people, trust leads to influence, which leads to impact. It's really awesome to see. But when you can build that trust with people, you have influence on them. And then the more people you influence, the bigger impact you can make. And trust starts with content creation. It just does. So that's where you have to go. And again, the only way to create content that you own is to have on your website. I like what this person, her name is Belle, from the website Creative Resource, had to say. By the way, what an awesome name, right? Talk about some cool marketing. She said, your website is there for potential customers anytime they want a question answered or a desire to buy your product or service. They can act as your business's personal concierge, always there to answer questions and lead people in the right direction. So your website is kind of acting like a full-time employee. It's consistently creating new opportunities for business. It's funneling new leads in your email list. It's giving your prospects great value in their decision-making process. It's really something that I can't imagine my business doing without, and I can't imagine my clients' businesses doing without. It really brings your entire online presence together. So, yes, it's 2020. Yes, you still need a website in 2020. Get yourself a website. Join me if you need anything. I'm here to help: graphic design, website design, wanting to make sure your site is performing well and secure, getting found by search engines and by people looking for services that you offer. I would love to be able to help you with that. So just reach out to us. You can see we got contact information right there. 336-283-7995, or just come to our website, and you can come to our homepage right here, and you can even book a free call. Just go right there, put in your information, and we will get back to you. All right? Hey, I hope you have a great week as you build your brand. To your success, this is Steve Schramm.